which will prevent some ticket holders from attending matches. And they confirm, despite the difficult economic situation, the club made the decision to reimburse all tickets purchased for cancelled and postponed matches, which is as it should be, I think.
Yeah, I think it's clear what they're doing. It's positive. It's kind of a nice distraction away from all the kind of fallout that there was about Catalans wanting home games earlier. I think there's been some sort of compromise achieved there. It looks like they're going to be flying in and out for the games in England for the first month, and then hopefully with that compromise that they're making, the compromise can be that club will be going to France from September onwards, and Catalans can have a couple of games in September where they have crowds.
Yeah, and you'd imagine that they would actually have some supporters who would welcome the reimbursement and not attending.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
You know, I mean, when you talk to just general people in the public, some people say, well, I'm still choosing to do this, that and the other. So you'd think that sporting situations setups are a thing that maybe some people would opt not to do. So hopefully there won't be too much difficulty in who is able to attend and who isn't.
Yeah, and I think all these steps that we've just talked about actually will help all of the clubs come to conclusions over the next week or two about the proposals to their fans as well. You know, including the government's announcement about the 1st of October date. But yeah, so good on Catalans, and I hope they get crowds in sooner rather than later. The RFL board met on Monday evening. How have they met this evening? It's still this evening, isn't it? Monday evening to make decisions, as promised earlier this month, on the future of the Betfred Championship and League One competitions in 2020, and on promotion and relegation between those two competitions and the Betfred Super League. The board also discussed the withdrawal of Toronto Wolfpack from the Betfred Super League for the rearranged 2020 season, with further discussions to follow with Super League as per today's statement. The board's decisions this evening were as follows. There will be no relegation from the 11-team Betfred Super League in 2020 for reasons of integrity, player welfare, and also to protect the solvency of clubs. So I think that's sensible. I've been on that. That's been my stance for most of this period, so I think that's sensible. And obviously now with Toronto's situation still up in the air, it looks even more sensible, doesn't it? But Tim's 10-team league is off the table, Sarah.
Oh, wow.
You have to find another way to get Rovers relegated.
Was Tim at this meeting?
No.
I didn't know if this was a meeting that he was at and that's why he wasn't here.
No, he attends the community.
I knew he attended some meetings.
As a representative of the Pitsanger Panthers.
Okay.
Is it Panthers or Pirates? It's Panthers, isn't it?
I think so. Pirates sounds more ice hockey-ish.
The Betfred Championship and League One seasons will not resume in 2020. This follows the government announcement last week identifying October as the earliest opportunity for the return of crowds to sport, and the finding of a survey of Betfred Championship and League One clubs that a majority in each competition would not support playing matches behind closed doors. Again, the issues of protecting the solvency of clubs informed this decision. The Betfred Championship and League One clubs will be invited to play in a competition this autumn with a theme of celebrating the sport's 125th anniversary and with a prize pot of £250,000 thanks in part to financial support from the Super League clubs. Further details of this competition will follow this week. It will be voluntary. There will be a detailed application process requiring clubs to prove their ability to meet the necessary protocols and medical standards. There will be no automatic promotion to the Betfred Super League from this competition. So what that doesn't do is rule out some other sort of promotion, but what it does say is that there's no automatic guarantee of promotion, I suppose.
Yes, so everything. So they can have another meeting about it.
Well, I think this announcement would have been there'd be no relegation from the 12-team Super League, wouldn't it? If the Toronto situation hadn't happened. I think now Toronto puts things into a different conversation about promotion and relegation, because the wording of this statement is very specific about no relegation from the 11-team Super League, and that further discussions will follow about the Toronto Wolfpack situation, which therefore I think this statement would have said there will be no promotion to the Betfred Super League from this competition, but because of the Toronto Wolfpack situation, it's added the word automatic in there. It's complicated everything. It's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
But we know more today. We know way more.
Yeah. We do.
So I think all of that's come out in that statement, to me, is a sensible compromise on part of all of the clubs, and for this season seems like the right option, is my view. That comes as no surprise to anyone because I've been saying it for a month or more. What about yourself? What are you thinking?
What am I thinking? I'm thinking that it makes sense, especially given the Toronto situation. My concern is that they're somehow going to fabricate a reason that Toronto can stay in Super League next year, rather than saying, no, you've got to, like we talked about earlier. I think that they've got to face serious sanctions.
Yeah, be it financial or competition or what have you, there has to be some sort of thing fall down.
I just don't like the idea that they might be back in Super League next year, sort of, because that's the easy option.
No, but I don't think that. I think with this statement, like I said, I think we can draw pretty strong conclusions on what the situation would have been had we not had this Toronto announcement, because obviously this has been being worked on, and I think the RFO would have faced huge backlash from the clubs if this announcement had been delayed in any way because of what was happening at Toronto today. So I think Toronto has put in some new things to resolve rather than, because the resolution prior to this, I think, would have been
no promotion, no relegation, status quo for next year.
Yeah, with a prize pool for the championship clubs as a kind of make way to say, we're sorry, we realise that it's not ideal for you guys, but there has to be compromise because there's a significant amount of your number in your competition who say, I just can't play this competition. So, it's not one club, is it? It's more than half of both. It's a majority of both competitions.
Yeah. I think that given it's come from the clubs that actually we can't afford to run, we can't afford to pay a doctor to come out. We can't afford to pay, I don't know, the groundsman or whatever else, if we're not getting people through the gate. For a start, it's a very sad state that that's the situation with our second tier of the game. But I think, if they are saying that, then therefore the no promotion and relegation, the no automatic promotion becomes the right thing.
I think that the group.
I think the only way you could have had promotion in a proper sense is for the season to have been finished.
And I don't see how that was feasible this year.
No.
But I think the other the group of people to think about, obviously, are the players in those leagues. Now, the clubs, until at least next month, still have the full opportunity of the furlough scheme, don't they? And then the furlough scheme starts to wind down. I don't know the full ins and outs because I've been lucky enough not to have to worry about it. But my understanding is the employers have to start paying a contribution towards the 80% sort of figure that people are being paid to continue it up, but the furlough scheme doesn't end until October in totality, is my understanding. So that being said, I think that this probably is a win-win situation, that come October there'll be some sort of competition where these players can play in, maybe late September, who knows, that these players can play in, can get paid for playing in. Hopefully they'll structure the competition in such a way that it's not just one game and you're out, but maybe a couple of pools or whatever. I'm not sure, but something to make sure teams get 3 or 4 games maybe, and that should see these in front of crowds, and at that level. Most of the clubs, actually, even if you looked at a third of capacity, League Express did a piece this week that shows most of the clubs would actually be able to exist in their current stadiums at a third of capacity with their average attendances in place. That's the state of play in those competitions anyway for audience. So probably,
and it might be a positive thing. If they can bill it right, they could actually, do quite well for crowds, you'd think.
Yeah, you would hope so, yeah. Because, they've got an opportunity, they've got a blank sheet of paper for how they're going to design this competition.
Yeah.
And so, I think, obviously, the 3 or 4 clubs that were hoping for promotion to the Super League, it's not ideal for them. However, we don't know that there's not going to be some mechanism where there is promotion. They've said no automatic promotion, I suppose, because they might want to think about some sort of criteria. That might mean you don't want a situation, for example, where, I don't know, London Scholars managed to rag wins against 3 teams to get to this final and win the final somehow in some way. I don't know. One team gets struck down by flu the week before the final. I don't know.
But also,
and then you can't have that team going up into Super League, can you? But maybe if it's a team that meets certain criteria, like we used to have for promotion and relegation anyway, about, I don't know, stadium, ability to go to full time within a short window of time, that sort of stuff, then maybe there will be promotion. So that might not be out of the hands now. I'd like to think
that the statement of no automatic promotion, I'd like to think that it's kind of saying this is not a definite, but do you know what I mean? It's maybe not ruling everything out.
I think that's what they've done here with this statement. I think
that's what I mean. I think it's been worded such and hopefully being thought about such that I
think they need to basically create a formula where any team that maybe they think of giving promotion to is a team that can manage that shift, because clearly there's lots of clubs that might want to enter this autumn competition that, who knows, bit of luck on their side, could win that competition but could not manage that shift to become a Super League club by middle of February next year.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to the rest of the news that came through this week. Let's start that with another positive story to balance out that kind of, I don't know, sad for some, positive for others story we've just covered, and that's another RFL-based story. They've announced a return to profit, the RFL have, but the governing body forecasts at least a $3 million loss due to the cancellation of this year's Ashes series. But let's focus on that profit. That's good. Financial figures in the 2019 statements presented at Wednesday's virtual annual general meeting show a profit of £75,000. Welcome news after losses in the past 2 years, including a shortfall of £327,000 in 2018. But the first home Ashes series since 2003, budgeted to deliver income in excess of $3 million, being scrapped because of coronavirus and the wider implications of the pandemic, has led to revised forecasts for 2020 and 2021. Which is to be expected, obviously. Another positive, it was announced that the RFL's 2019 end-of-year report to Sport England showed an increase in participation from 102,304 to 109,501. This is the third successive year with increased participation numbers, and the growth represents a figure that is slightly above the target set by Sport England. I think the target's are 5% and the growth was 7%. So that's fantastic that we're still seeing that in 2019. Obviously, 2020 is a different kettle of fish when it comes to everything and all things, but real positive that up to this stage the sport is growing and getting better.
Yes. It is. It's encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah, because where's that, new participation? Some of it might be recovering lost participation from time gone by, but more people enjoying the game is what the initiatives have all been around from the RFL in recent times, and it really does help with Sport England funding as well, which is crucial to our England teams. Our women's, our wheelchairs, our men's, and the potential for them to win a World Cup.
Yes.
Right, let's do a quick fire round.